I'm Noah Riley Teal. I'm 1 month away from, or actually now less than a month away from turning 18. Um, and I'm a singer, songwriter, guitarist from Jackson Lake, Georgia. That's about, I don't know, hour and a half away from Atlanta. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, or the Georgia area. And this is kind of what I do for a living because music has always been my thing. So, and I figured out a long time ago I'm not good at anything else. So, this don't work. Guess I'm not working.
And you've already got the attention of big high up bands such as the Zac Brown band. I'm curious how you got connections to Koi.
Yeah. So, there's a local guitar builder here in Georgia named Banker Custom Guitars. Matt and I have been friends since tail end of 2019. Um, for those who know me, I have a slight addiction to guitars and always have, one on the mind of what's next and stuff like that. And at that point, it was a Flying V. If you're familiar with Lenny Kravitz, Billy Gibbons, Albert King, that's a Flying V for them. Um, and so I just ended up stumbling across this guy named Matt in Georgia that built them. I mean, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours away from my house. It's like, heck yeah, this is awesome. And the specific one that I wanted to build, Gibson no longer did at the time. So this was like, if I was going to find one, I found the perfect way to get one. And Matt and I just started emailing each other back and forth. And come to find out, he thought I was a 45-year-old collector. Then shows up to his house this, at the time, 14, 15-year-old kid and with his granddad. And he's going, this is not what I was expecting. Um, and I think he was impressed enough with my just um, ultra levels of nerd knowledge about guitars and music and stuff like that. And just, like I joked about, this music is, the only thing that I know how to do. I have tried other sports, but music, just is my thing. And so I think whatever was in the water that day, I just impressed him enough where he goes, a couple months later, before he'd ever even heard me play, he goes, I need you to be an artist on the Banker roster. And I'm looking at it, and there's the guys from Blackberry Smoke and Marcus King and Hoy and Rival Sons and so many other guitar players I look up to as, gods. And I'm going, how about you do that after you hear me play? Let's just, just looking out for you. But so COVID hits in March, April of 2020. And so around the summer of that time, I would say, I don't even know how it came up in conversation, but Matt needs to go. I need to introduce you to Coy. I just feel like there's just something in me telling me that you and Coy need to know each other. And it started out with a phone call with Coy, with myself, my management, aka mom and dad, and Coy, and we just talked about introducing ourselves, getting who he was, getting. I mean, obviously, I knew who he was. I mean, it's not like around here you cannot go 500 feet without hearing chicken fried, so I knew exactly who
Yeah.
he was. But he just kind of learned who we were and who we were about. And so he challenged me to write 5 songs and just get back with him. See if he would have any interest in working with me. Um, to preference that though, I had never written anything in my life. So
Really?
I get this challenge from quite possibly one of the greatest songwriters in Southern rock Americana music to write 5 songs. I'm one of those, like, if you're gonna do something, you better do it dang good. So I've spent, I don't know, maybe a month just trying to come up with anything and didn't really come up with it. But Coy and I started working together even outside of that. and he heard me play guitar, and I very vividly remember him saying, "I don't need to teach you how to play guitar. We need to learn how to write." Um, and that's what he taught me to. And a couple months go by, and he goes, "All right, we need to take this to the next step. We need an album." And of course, I hear that and go, "What?"
Gosh, that's insane. My thought process is I'm curious to know, like, when you're trying to write your music, what are you trying to pull from the atmosphere? What was like the inspiration that you were trying to come up with?
Well, that's a very interesting question because I have been asked that question some repeatedly before. And, as a 17-year-old kid, at that time, I was what I consider myself to be a blues musician. If you're a blues musician, you're supposed to go through all this heartbreak and trouble in life. And I had not gone through any of that. I mean, I am very lucky to live the life that I do. We are very fortunate. Um, and so I didn't, and I'd never had my heart broken at that time. I mean, yeah, I'd have a girl that wouldn't pay any attention to me, but that's on. I mean, when you're 14 years old, that doesn't even really count.
Yeah,
And I ended up just drawing inspiration from anything and everything. Um, you know, a lot of my favorite songwriters, a gentleman named Wyatt Durrett, who wrote a song that's on the record called "I'm Coming Around." Um, I kind of, when talking to him when I very first met him, I learned that I have a lot of the same tendencies as him. We can just come up with stuff. It's not, um, now he can come up with stuff every 5 seconds. It takes me about 3 or 4 months to come up with something. But, and so I would draw inspiration from anything and everything. Whether it was girl I liked at the time, or just my mind playing games with me on something like that. Like there's a song on the album called Fair Chance, and the whole idea is, getting dumped essentially and getting your heart broken. I'd never gone through any of that in my entire life. Still really haven't gone through that. And Clay Cook with the Zach Brown guys goes, "Charlie Starr wrote this, right?" I go, "No, that was me." And he goes, "There's no way that you wrote this. This is like too good." And so I will forever like remember that as like, you know, because it's easy to get down on yourself when you get frustrated. I'm not one of those that can just write all the time. It
yeah,
takes it usually takes something big for me. Or just, walking down the street and you come up with an idea and you go, "Oh my God, where has this been for the last 9 months when I've been trying to write?" So I always remember what Coy said as just some motivation. And like, come on, you did this once, you can do it again. And to just build on there. That, Fair Chance is a great song, but I know I can do even better. And so to really answer your question, for me, inspiration can come from anything. Of course, now it's funny. Once I was finished writing all the songs for the first record, I actually started going through real life experiences. So
that's good.
it was like bad timing. But now on stuff that I'm writing, I'm using that life experience that I've had. Using the heartbreaks that I have had, or more recently, I used to, I was in middle school and stuff like that, mildly bullied. So at that time writing during the first record, I just kind of used that as inspiration. In Southern rock, country, and stuff like that, there's the excuse my language, but I like to call it there's these type of songs, and Charlie Starr, Blackberry Smoke is the absolute king at them. I like to call them whoop your ass country. And
Yeah,
the whole idea is, if you're familiar with the Yellowstone TV show, it's kind of that. Like, when you're
yeah.
my very first single, "Should Have Seen the Other Guy," is that. And takes a lot of inspiration from something like that. So I would just not make up stuff, but I would just take, my experiences from middle school and not being the most popular guy. And, you know,
I'm glad you mentioned your song because that is a great transition into the main story here.
Yeah.
Should have seen the other guys out along with the music video. I want to talk briefly about the song first before I jump into
Yeah.
the music video.
For the last couple of years, I've said this: if I can be 10% of Billy Gibbons cool in my life, I've lived. I can retire a happy man. Um, and so it's kind of an interesting story how that song came to be, because I like to split up while we were writing the album into two different things. There was um before a certain date, which was about a year, and then there was after a certain date, which was like 2 weeks. Because before that date, it was actually got a text during a show from Coy saying, "Hey, I'm back in town. You got any songs ready?" Because they had just finished recording Zach's latest album. Oh crap! I feel like an idiot for not knowing the title.
Oh, you're
Oh, but
good.
that's
You're
besides the he told me, look, when I get back from recording this album with Zach, which it was about a month, I want to have some stuff ready to go. We want to go into, leave one studio and go right into the other. And so we get a text about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks before he was supposed to be back, saying, "Hey, I'm back in town. Y'all got any songs ready?" And so myself and the amazing Nikki Harris, who is kind of my I'll forever say my dad is my partner in crime, because he's not only my drummer and co-writer, but he's also my dad. Um, but my other right hand lady, Nikki Harris, who is a phenomenal singer and songwriter herself, we got that text and we went into game mode. And Should Have Seen the Other Guy was the very first thing that we came up with from a exploded ketchup packet of all things. My dad and I are driving down the road, just eating Chick-fil-A, and one of us throws a ketchup packet in the Chick-fil-A bag, and it explodes everywhere. And one of us says along the lines of, "Man, I don't feel so good." And I go, "Well, you think you feel bad? You should have seen the other guy." And we had this moment of looking at each other going, "Whoa," like the Wayne's World kind of thing. Like, dude, that was good. Um, and the song started out musically very different than what, or at least, for a musician, it was very different. It was a little bit more funk stuff like that, but I can thank Tyler Greenwell of Tedeschi Trucks, one of their drummers, who is now like a very bad influence older brother. I love him to death. I just love that human being. Um, and he goes, "I ain't playing it that way. We're gonna play it this way." And now the ZZ Top sound was born, and I was completely all right with that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it stands out and it really does add a punch to your lyrics. And you kind of feel that like excitement in it. So
Yeah, there's a little just bit more. The song was really good before he came up with that suggestion, but it was just that extra 10%. I mean, honestly, what I'm playing guitar wise and what everybody else is playing is not all that different. It's all in the drums and just in the cadence,
yeah.
and how it's played. But it's just that extra 5-10% that makes it that much better. And like I said, I can't really take credit for coming up with that, making it sound like it did, because that was all Falcon.
So I want to bring back on something that you mentioned with your dad helping you write music. How is the dynamic between you two?
Well, my dad, it's kind of funny because we're about to start introducing songs from his old band in the 2000s. Um, but, I've known my dad for a long time, almost 18 years. Um, May 22nd, it will be 18 years to the day that I will know my dad. And we just work well together. And I think that just comes from, you you live with somebody long enough, you kind of know what to expect. Even down to just the way we play together. Like I said, he's my drummer, live, we just can anticipate each other. I mean, I've, always followed the drums, and his dad was a drummer. So I really screwed things up when I became a guitar player. Um, but writing with dad, and, I would hope he would say the same, and I really think he would, is just, it's always felt kind of natural. Like, and I just get enjoyment out of it. I can come up with ideas and stuff like that, but I sometimes find it hard to put into words what I want to say, especially when it's something meaningful to me. It's ironic. The more it means to me, the less I'm likely to be able to say about it. But Dad has this knack for lyrics, and just, I mean, can write just incredible stuff. And like I said, so much so that I'm about to pull a couple songs from his old band that were never really released and put them with my stuff. Because they're one of those things that I've heard them since I was born. They're songs that are ingrained in me, and I go, these will be matching Lizzo and Keith Urban and Harry Styles for number one. I really do believe that. So for me, I get a lot out of him from a standpoint of just his writing ability. But what I get even more out of it is I just enjoy writing with him. He kind of gets me, and I kind of get him. I guess we have blood to thank for that.
I love that. And I love that you're being able to like feature your father's past works. It's kind of like this nice little cherry on top of the sundae of your career, your beginning career here,
Yeah.
which I want to bring up to the fun part of the show. The music video that you had created for this was super fun and chaotic, and chaotic. I'd love to know how much creativity did you put into the music video?
Well, it's funny. We're right after this. I'm about to leave to go and shoot the second one,
Oh,
at Atlanta Motor Speedway of all places. Um, the should have seen the other guy music video. My parents own a production company. That's what they do for a living. Or and so I've always grown up on stage, and grown up around video technicians and audio technicians and lighting guys and road cases, and staging have been my life. I mean, they started the company right after I was born. So it's everything I've known. So I've had guys, you know, that I look up to as older brothers that are in the video world. The two most important ones that I got to point out for a lot of the heavy lifting on Should Have Seen the Other Guy are Michael and Toby, um, who really, I figured out with the Should Have Seen video that, because I would used to be very anti music video, like, you're not gonna get me up there and lip sync a song and stuff like that.
really?
That's for pop artists. I ended up finding out I actually had a lot of fun doing it. But I joked about the Yellowstone influence you know, when at the time I was kind of watching Yellowstone and looked at Rip and all the guys on there and going, that's what I envisioned in my head. And funny enough, originally was supposed to be an old Western gunslinger idea.
Oh,
We have a stunt actress on the lake, that we're very good friends with, and instead of two guys, it was going to be two chicks being the gunslingers. But that, ironically, as for that idea to have been put to bed so early, it came full circle with the scene of the El Camino and the Mustang. Um,
yeah.
and it's actually the other guy. I can not say I would punch that guy or have a scenario where I go, well, you look back, you should have seen the other guy. I could not have that scenario with him because I've been almost best friends with him since second grade. uh, so that, um, so it was kind of awkward for us. Like, I've never had a reason to be angry at you. This feels ingenuine, but I was surprised how well all three of us did. Tommy, the other guy, and Ansley, who is a part of the racing world, and my sister's actually a race car driver, of
Okay.
all things. She got all the danger loving genes that completely skipped over me. Um, and Ansley, the girl in the video, is from that world, and she was just kind of another one of those things like, oh, she's perfect for this. Um, and so we had the cast, and the idea, and just some of the things changed over the course of the filming of it. Excuse me. But one thing that stayed consistent is it's got to be cool. It's got to be that Yellowstone feeling of just bad. You hear George Thorogood's Bad to the Bone come on in the car, or you imagine that's what they're listening to. Um, but the idea that I wanted to tell, because it was kind of the idea of the song when Nikki and I first started writing it, is there is side A, there is side B, and then there's what actually happened. Um, and so, we kind of leave it up to the mind of the viewer, or at least the way I feel is we kind of leave it up to the mind of the viewer after you're done with the scenes in the bar. You know, what does the rest of it actually happen? Um, and of course, that's my wannabe George Lucas and Steven Spielberg kicking in of like, oh, you got to mess with the mind of the viewer and stuff like that. Get off Hollywood on it. But that was kind of the idea. And having me, take an eye for an eye. The guy steals my girl, I steal his guitar. And then you see me with the guitar in the other parts of the video, or the band portions of the video. So it's just the small details that make you go, okay. It just makes you think. That's kind of the goal. The next one, however, is not a thinker, but uh, the should have seen video. Like I was saying, 5 years ago, I was not about me some music, like that's for country artists. Just give me some video of me recording in the studio. But I ended up having a lot of fun and enjoyed the creative process, even though I probably stressed the heck out of Toby and Michael. Um, it was a lot of fun, and I feel like I'm very much proud because I didn't know what to expect for it to come out. I'm one of the, like I said earlier, I'm one of those that if you're going to do something, you better do it to your best ability. So just the reaction we've gotten from everybody has been overwhelmingly good. And I did an April Fool's prank right before the video was supposed to come out, talking about how I was going to cancel everything. Album was going to be done, singles, nothing was coming out, no videos. And just the sheer amount of hate mail I received, I was like, I didn't get this many people talking to me on my birthday. Hey, so there are a lot of people that have actually been looking forward to this.
Well,
So give them something good.
yeah, and it's a fantastic music video and a fantastic song. I'm so excited to hear I'm actually so excited to see what's going to happen for the new music video that's going to happen or coming soon, I should say. Um, I do have a couple like small like fun conversation card questions that would you be up for?
Awesome.
All right. So we'll go off easy. Uh, kind of right off the idea of, should have seen the other guy. What would be written on your gravestone if you were the other guy?
Oh, if I was the other guy. Oh,
Yeah.
crap. Shouldn't have taken his girl.
Love that.
That would probably be a good one.
That is a
Man,
great
I screwed
one.
up on that one. Uh, that's a That's a real, oh crap. Of course, at 12 o'clock tonight, I'm going to go, I have a genius answer. But I
You're
don't know
welcome to
why
send
that
it
comes.
over.
Yeah, I don't know why that just firstly comes to mind of, man, shouldn't have done that. But because I mean, look at me. I'm not much in a fight, but I like to think, like to think of myself in my brain as big, Rip on Yellowstone. That's what I like to think of my or hope to be. So I would want on the other guy's gravestone. Yeah, shouldn't have done that.
I like that answer. It kind of like fits really well. Here. Um, if you could be a twin with anybody, who would it be?
Win with any.
Yes, a twin. Your identical person that you are paired up with. I always think of the movie, I think it's called Twin with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I would love Wyatt Durrett's songwriting ability. So that would be fun. And he's a fun guy to be around. Falcon would be fun to Tyler Greenwell from Tedeschi Trucks that played drums on the album. That would be a lot of fun and would probably get into a lot of trouble. But if you're not getting into trouble, you're not having any fun. Or that's a good question though. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. Actually, I know exactly who I think I would be. Harrison Ford. Since I was my dad was a big Harrison Ford fan. He was a kid when Star Wars came out and had all the toys and I may still have it, but I have his Empire Strikes Back bed sheets from when he was a kid. And so, you had Star Wars and Indiana Jones. And you know, so I grew up loving what he grew up, just music wise and movie wise. So if I could be like Harrison Ford, that would not suck. That would be pretty dang awesome.
That'd be great. Actually, I love that idea of Harrison Ford at being your twin. Here, um, if you were to name a holiday after yourself, what would it be called?
National. It would. I would imagine it'd probably have to do something with music or there we go. What one would be that would be fun just because of for racing and especially NASCAR, which is kind of the route my sister's going. Just music and racing day, and how those are intertwined. There's a lot of you look back to Marty Robbins, a very famous country singer, was also a race car driver at the same time in NASCAR.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do remember that.
and music and racing have very deep roots with each other. So, a celebration of both days for Noah Riley Teal Day or whatever would be pretty dang awesome.
Okay, this is probably the most dad joke I ever will come up for in this kind of situation. Probably even technically call it racetrack day.
That was pretty
It's the
good.
worst joke.
Here's
I
the
don't
thing. You are not very far off.
know.
There is a um NASCAR Cup Series team called Trackhouse that is co-owned by Pitbull of all people.
I love
And
that.
I've been lucky enough to meet one of the co-owners, a gentleman named Justin Marks, who I try to blow up his phone on Twitter as much as I can because I really believe Trackhouse Racing, they bill themselves as Trackhouse Entertainment. So this will be a nice plug for me to, even annoy them even more. Actually, I have the hat.
You have the hat?
All right, Justin Marks. This is
Oh,
their logo. I'm just saying that looks pretty much like a record player to me.
it does. Where can we find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple Music under Noah Riley Teal. Noah like the Ark, Riley like Radar O'Reilly on MASH. The older crowd will definitely know that. And Teal like the color. My very first single, Should Have Seen the Other Guy, just came out on all your favorite music streaming platforms. And my second single will be coming out May 26th. It's a little tune called I'm Coming Around. A little bit more country pop. It's for people who know me, they're not going to be expecting it, which I
Ooh.
love. It's a little bit of it's going to be a surprise for some people. But You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. I think that's all of them. Under some variation or form of official Noah Riley Teal. Um, and yeah, that's where you can find me. Please give me a follow. It would mean the world to have, you know, your audience and everybody, heck, send me a message sometime saying that you dig what I'm doing. That I take a lot of that kind of stuff to heart, and it means a lot for me. It does a lot for me too, just from a, you know, building me up standpoint and making me
Yeah.
feel good about what I'm doing. Keeps me going, having people say, "Man, I love this."